Hello, I'm Vivian, and this video is on hypothyroidism. There's a lot of information, maybe too much information out there. And so I'm just going to share my story. And again, I am not a medical professional. You take my story for whatever it's worth, take whatever information, do your own research, figure it out for yourself, because honestly, what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. And I'm still in transition. I'm not finished with this process, and I'm making this video series on health and all these different medical issues as an accountability thing for myself, because this is the year. I hope by summertime actually, I'm not going to be swollen. Hopefully, I've lost weight. A lot of things have turned around, but hypothyroidism, the ladies in particular, every decade of our life, our thyroid functions decrease. This is why our metabolism, in your 20s, you're able to go out and drink and eat pizza, stop at Waffle House after a night of dancing and eat all that stuff at Waffle House that we really shouldn't be eating, but so pleasurable. So yeah, that was my lifestyle back then. And I sometimes joke that when I quit going out dancing on weekends is when I started getting fat, but I was also pregnant at the time, so if you saw the other videos, you know what happened. But I had the blood work done. I went to the doctors. I had all the classic symptoms: the dry, papery skin, the hair loss, the fatigue, constant fatigue, the weight gain. Also, other things are included, but it's like the perfect storm. All these things kind of almost go together. Okay. I believe that oftentimes many of you that watch this video will go, oh yeah, I've got that one too. I've got this one, and that, these labels and health issues, because there's an overall thing going on. And when we're putting what we think is good food, healthy food, and our bodies can't process it for whatever reason, or it's not really good for us, and we didn't realize it. We were falsely told, or something's happened in the food system that's now made this not a good food for us. So there's these things you got to think about, and then it hits everything, and it's going to affect more than one system in your body. So I had the blood work done because I had all the classic symptoms of hypothyroidism, and the blood work came back normal, that I didn't have it. I was like, okay. And continued in research, going, what else could it be if it's not hypothyroidism? I ran across a test, and you can do it yourself. You have to take your body temperature. I just did an oral thermometer before you get out of bed for 3 mornings in a row. And I sleep under very thick, heavy covers, and because I stay cold, my hands and feet were like ice all the time. It's like touching somebody else. They're like, freezing. So my feet, they stayed cold. So I took my body temperature, took my temperature 3 mornings in a row before I got out of bed, before I did anything. I've been in bed for hours, sleeping. So in the mornings, I took the temperature 3 mornings in a row. They were low. Instead of 98.6, it was like 96 point something. And, once I got up and moving, I took my body temperature just to see. It's like, yeah, it's back up to normal. But that was an indication of hypothyroidism. Now, I could have gone back to my doctor and said, I did this and blah, 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 and I want medicine. But I didn't want medicine. I wanted to address it where I could. So I did iodine, kelp tablets, actually, to get the iodine up. And that did work. My hands are no longer ice. My feet are not ice. But it loses its effect for me. So like I do it for 6 months and I get off of it. So during the summer months, having cold hands and feet is not a bad thing. But during the winter, I take my iodine tablets, my kelp tablets, to get the iodine in. And there's a lot of take a lot of supplements. I'm gonna make that its own video, because a lot of things, like I said, it's overlapping when I'm trying to self-treat and self-medicate myself nutritionally. And I should have been getting this in my foods, okay? I had a diet rich in seaweed. Korean seaweed soup is one of my favorites, and it's a comfort food for me, with or without rice in it. I do it with my own stock that I made, whether it's chicken or beef or pork or even deer or goat. I don't let any bones go to waste. If we butcher an animal, those bones are going into my roaster or crock pot, and they're getting cooked down until I got some really serious stock. So, I mean, this is good stuff. But a lot of things no longer have the nutritional value they used to have. They've been tracking, I think, for over 60 years now, nutrition in foods. And an apple 60 years ago is the equivalent of almost 3 apples today, nutritionally speaking, because it's just not in the soil, it doesn't get into the plant. It's not a miracle thing that all of a sudden shows up because a spinach has so much iron, and it has more beta carotene than a carrot does, but it still has more chlorophyll, so it means it's a superfood. But if it's not in the soil, where's it coming from? You know, and the fertilizers are just 3 things, and it's not iron, it's not calcium, it's not beta carotene. So, 10, 10, 10, 10, 6, whatever, there's those 3 things that's in fertilizer, chemical fertilizer, is not going to replenish everything in the soil. So even if you're eating a healthy diet, you may still be lacking. And yeah, I may be producing very expensive urine with all the supplements, but I do see the effects of certain ones. And if I don't see an effect, I don't see a change, I stop. I don't take those. So certain ones make a difference, certain ones don't. So you have to figure that out too. So I took kelp tablets to help with the iodine, but I'm also learning it's so interconnected. So there's some liver issues I have to deal with too, to get the liver functioning correctly, so it can help not tax the thyroid. And then there's some digestive issues that need to be addressed so that the liver can work right. So then so it's very interconnected, and I seriously doubt anyone that has one of the things I mentioned in my opener video about all the health issues I'm dealing with or trying to deal with. I seriously doubt there's one person out there that has just one of those labels and not one of the other ones, or maybe all of them. So it's I'm trying to do a whole physical, spiritual, and intellectual change, as well as the dietary changes and lifestyle changes that go with some of this stuff. And just sharing with this, and there's and it's certain foods that are good for one thing. It's like kale is superfood, right? Especially if you grow it yourself and you know that you didn't use pesticides or any herbicides around it, and it's good soil that you're using, and or the growers and they do it very cleanly. It's not good for your thyroid. It's like I can't have kale. I have to avoid kale. I have to avoid most brassicas. Kimchi, please. I have to give up kimchi. I have to give up a lot of things, or limit their use in order to promote healing in other areas. And I'm just going, well, what can I eat? All the healthy stuff is like gone. So fasting becomes easier and easier, and I just have that little window of eating and try to eat nutritionally or just to keep me going. So anyway, I don't want to be depressing with this, but there is, and you're going to feel caught between a rock and a hard place, because you just can't do certain things. You can't eat certain things, and or it's bad for this. So I'm eating. I feel like for me, going back to more of an ancestral diet. So a quarter of me is Italian, so I can't do that diet. The pastas and grains and the breads that I love, and half of me genetically is Korean. So I'm going to go back to more of a Korean diet, eliminating certain other, keeping out the wheat. And beans are not good for the thyroid. Soybeans in particular should be avoided for hypothyroidism. And I just fixed a big pot of lima beans yesterday. What you gonna do? You know, it's not often. I was doing beans once a week, but that's had to be cut out. For the thyroid, there's some good foods for thyroids, and but I tend to love the bad ones. Peaches, cabbage. I love cabbage. Napa cabbage, regular round cabbage, red cabbage, bok choy. So in Brussels sprouts, I love Brussels sprouts. I love broccoli. I used to sprout it every day. No wonder things went. My body couldn't handle that too. Is one of the things I was supposed to eliminate from my blood work that I was sensitive to. So, but don't be discouraged. I mean, this is a journey, and I'm not at the end of it. I don't know where it's going to end at this point. I just know that I got to try some different things until I hit what works for me. And I'll just share that as if you go on this journey along with me. But let me know what's working for you. If you have hypothyroidism and any of the other conditions, or you suspect you do, but your blood work came back fine, you may want to do that body temperature thing and figure out if you do, because you're probably on that borderline. You technically, you've got all the symptoms, but your blood work comes up okay. So maybe they should there's another blood work that they don't typically do that may show you as definitely having hypothyroidism. But if you don't want to go the medical route, taking whatever pills that's prescribed, one of my sisters had to have her thyroid removed. She had thyroid cancer. So she's on medications, but she has a very, very active life. So she's doing really well under that. This happened years ago to her, so she's doing well. So she's whatever's working for her, but I'm not going to go to the gym every day and work out like she does. I'm just not in that condition. To do it, I'm not going to go to a gym, period. I'm just too far out. I'm not going to spend that time to get there. But I do need to increase my activity. I feel better when I'm doing more, even if I'm going to bed tired and sore. That's a good ache. But not overdo it where I'm hurting in my back and can't do anything for a couple of days because I'm in so much pain. So it's like trying to find that balance. But again, let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.